Soundwave rules. Ever since I've started collecting, I've always had a soft spot for that Megatron simping, no mouth having guy. You know what else rules? The Transformers Masterpiece toy line. Shockingly complex versions of all of your favorite cartoon characters with a plethora of accessories and top tier posing. So it's pretty obvious that a Masterpiece Soundwave is going to be pretty awesome. But this might be one of the best Transformers toys of all time. And he didn't come alone either. Yes, this is Rumble. In this house, we call the red one Rumble. This isn't one of the more dynamic alt modes, but it is just about perfect. If it wasn't for those mechanically necessary seam lines, you could almost believe this guy didn't even transform and was a real microcassette. Not really much to do with him in this mode, other than put him in this awesome pink transparent microcassette case. Despite his small size, he has a nice heft to him. You can tell this plastic is of the highest quality. It is downright shocking how much engineering went into the transformation of this little guy. And it's one of those addictive transformations I always want to do again as soon as it's over. So obviously he looks great and his posability is great too. But what really makes him special is all of his accessories and all the things you can do with. The little guns on his back can be popped up and wielded handheld mode if you prefer. And they can be neatly tucked into these red pillars, which attach to Rumble to make a really cool jetpack. Speaking of those pillars, you can attach them to his arms to create his cool pile drivers from the show. The little ends here can even extend. This guy's a complete package and lots of fun even without Soundwave. But once you get him involved, you can have some real Ravage was always my favorite of the microcassette tape mode. His black color scheme is pretty close to what I remember these things looking like in real life. You can put him in one of those pink cases from earlier, but that's about. Again, what a transformation. The fact you can get this super sleek feline out of what is essentially a rectangular box is nothing short of black magic. He actually might be a bit too slender. His chest is a little bit on the bird-chested side, where he could use a little bit of bulk to make him look really cool. Articulation is mostly good, but those forelimbs are a bit too loose for the stick-like stems to be really satisfying. He still looks really cool though. Just a little patience and you can get him into some pretty awesome positions. Well, he's a tape again. He comes with the pink case. That's it. That's all I've got to say about these microcassettes. I've run out of things to say about them at this point. All of the transformations are good, but that one is by far my favorite. They even managed to integrate his boosters, which were separate pieces of G1 toy, into the actual tape mode. Well done. He's about as posable as you like. No part of him really lacks movement. His head perhaps could have used a swivel side to side, but it's not really a major omission in my opinion. His head has this cool little pop-up surveillance camera. Always love a reference to the 86. Laserbeak is probably Soundwave's #1 guy. He even comes packaged with the big man himself. Well, those were some excellent side dishes, but I think it's time we moved on to the main course. Check this out. You knew those little tapes had to fit somewhere, and of course they pop into this iconic chest window. They all fit in there, like literally. There's a little mechanism in his chest that you can push back and fit all 3 of the tapes in there. I don't really want to do it though. I don't like the idea of it getting stuck and losing any of them. Surprisingly, that's not even the only play feature in this mode. He has pressable buttons, a flippable power switch, a turnable volume knob, and even a headphone jack that actually fits headphones. Cassette tape mode typically wouldn't have much to do, but he has so many fun little features that are just a joy to fiddle with. And seriously, just listen to how nice this sounds. Perfection. I know it seems impossible, but I swear this is the same toy. That tiny little box really did have this badass and bulky bot hidden inside. He really earns the Masterpiece title. His transformation is both a joy to do in both directions and really cool. Seriously, how? How did a guy this proportionally perfect come out of that alt mode? It's like an optical illusion or something. He's a delight to hold. The high quality plastic and die-cast metal give him a real heft. Speaking of metal, those feet really lend him some stability considering how big he is. Posability is extraordinary. You can get him into just about any pose you can think of, and all the joints are just perfect tightness. Not too tight, not too loose, just exactly what you'd want. His fingers are posable. Listen to these knees. You thought his cassette mode had some play value? You haven't seen nothing yet. His battery can transform into this really cool gun that actually transforms in a pretty neat way itself. He can also wield this cool Megatron gun. that's so well done that you can actually remove each of its individual attachments for your own preferred style. Laserbeak can perch on his forearm. That posability comes in clutch here to make this pose look both totally natural and completely awesome. Rumble's pile drivers can also attach to his forearm to make these really cool looking cannons. His feet have little compartments that Rumble's guns can go in, but I don't remember how to do it and I don't really feel like squeezing them in there. Yet more accessories! He has this little sensor that he used a handful of times in the and this little gridded chest panel he can use to display schematics. Check out the detail on the inside of those forearm panels. That's really cool. Now here's where I'm going to get a little controversial. I actually prefer this design style to the more modern Masterpiece figures where they're slavishly accurate to the G1 models. Sure, a lot of them look really cool, but Soundwave here has a special premium feel. Like this is the toy that Soundwave always should have been. Seems like someone at Takara agrees with me too, because the recent Skids looks more in line with this guy than the other cartoon figures. You love to see it. Fraz out.